Hello, and welcome to Starting 11's press conference. I'm Lloyd and thank you so much for joining me as we take a pass at some of the week's biggest soccer stories. We begin this week with official confirmation of Arsene Wenger's resignation from Arsenal. Just when you thought he had no tricks left, he goes and breaks his contract. Or did he? While news broke on Friday of his decision to leave the club, he's since made some not-so-subtle comments to the media that he was pushed rather than jumped. At a press conference ahead of Arsenal's clash with Atletico Madrid, he told a journalist that the timing of his departure wasn't really his decision. In all likelihood, the prospect of another season of the same old was probably too much for Arsenal's board to bear, given that Arsenal fans have finally started putting their money where their mouths is and stopped showing up to games. Wenger's always been a really proud man though, so the fact that he'd need a gun put to his head to make the decision probably shouldn't come as a surprise. Regardless of whether or not it's an era that you're ready for the end of, it is the end of an era, not just for Arsenal, but for the Premier League too. I've never known a Premier League without Arsenal, and it's hard to see another dynastic manager like him or Alex Ferguson coming along anytime soon. Wenger is largely to thank for elevating the game in England, and it's not a massive stretch to say around the world too, as without his advances in nutrition, hydration, and sports science, the Premier League would not have been fit to become the global juggernaut marketing machine that it became. More than anything though, he paved the way for artists in the English game, and while his career deterioration may not have been pretty to watch towards the end, he still gave us some unforgettable moments throughout the years, like an invincible Arsenal team, some immaculately intricate goals, and having a first name that was basically the name of his club, which is satisfying on a level that transcends football. Obviously the next question is, where does he go? He's made it very clear he doesn't fancy retiring, but it's hard to see another team of Arsenal's status or higher taking a chance on him after his last few dismal seasons at the Emirates. There's a rumour circulating that he could be going back to his home country though, to PSG. Not to take the manager role though, no, apparently that's all wrapped up. According to reports, former Borussia Dortmund coach Thomas Tuchel, who left the club after pissing everybody off, has already signed the paperwork to become PSG's new manager and will be announced at the end of the season. Wenger's name has instead been linked with the director of football job at the Paris club, which, given his affinity for controlling everything outside of the football pitch, could be a great role for him in this brave new world. PSG do already have a director of football though, former Porto vice president Antero Henrique. However, he apparently preferred either Antonio Conte or Sergio Conceição for the top job, and after opposing Thomas Tuchel and being generally underwhelming in his first season, there's rumours swirling that he could be shown the door. It's kind of ironic that Tuchel's going to PSG when he would have been a fantastic fit at Arsenal. He's just what they need, a young, hungry coach with some fresh ideas. Conte would be a great fit too, especially as he craves the kind of control that Arsene Wenger had over Arsenal, and it would be a great way to get back at Chelsea for the way that he feels he's been treated there. But he'd probably want to challenge himself in the Champions League. Only a subtle dig there, Arsenal fans. Only a subtle one. Elsewhere in the Prem, Mohamed Salah was officially crowned as the Player of the Season this week. Manchester City fans and gingers everywhere will be gutted to see Kevin De Bruyne, the metronome of the most scintillating City side in history, missing out on the top spot. But oh my god, what a season it has been to watch both of them hitting the heights they've reached. Of course, Salah celebrated by dismantling his old club Roma in the Champions League semi-finals this week at Anfield, with 2 assists and 2 technically exquisite goals. His semi-final contribution takes him up to 43 goals and 12 assists, which is just mind-blowing considering this is his first season at Liverpool. His goal at the weekend against West Brom also saw him draw level with Cristiano Ronaldo, Luis Suarez and Alan Shearer for 31 goals in a 38-game season, a domestic record. And with 3 games left to go, you'd kind of bank on him to break it too. But Salah winning the player-voted award doesn't diminish what De Bruyne has done this season either. City's season may not have finished quite as triumphantly as people were expecting it to at some points, but De Bruyne has still been the standout player in a squad that saw 3 members nominated for Player of the Year. Leroy Sané went on to become the Young Player of the Year. David Silva is a Premier League legend and still managed to raise his game this year, and De Bruyne outshone them both. Salah and De Bruyne are 25 and 26 respectively, so perhaps the only thing more exciting than watching them play this year is considering the heights that their careers could still yet reach. Ooh. They'll both be hoping to inspire their national teams to glory at the World Cup this summer, but one man who hasn't decided whether he'll be attending the shindig in Russia is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. You may remember that Zlatan retired after Euro 2016 from the Swedish international team, but since they qualified for the World Cup, there have been rumours swirling that he could yet rejoin the squad, especially after an electrifying start to life in Los Angeles. Zlatan took a trip down the block to Jimmy Kimmel's late night show and teased a possible return to the squad by saying that he would definitely be attending the World Cup, although he didn't say whether he'd be there as a player or as a spectator, and said that it wouldn't be a World Cup without Zlatan. The Swedish national team would presumably be hesitant to have him back, having qualified for the World Cup without him, but coach Jan Andersson said that Zlatan just needs to give him a call if he wants to get involved. Although he did add that he would rather work with the hundreds of thousands of players who haven't declared that they didn't want to play for the national team anymore. Is Zlatan bigger than a whole country? Watch this space. Zlatan's former club Juventus have had a tough couple of weeks though, first getting knocked out of the Champions League in heartbreaking fashion by Real Madrid, and then opening the door to a domestic title challenge from Napoli after playing them and losing 1-0 to a last-minute Koulibaly header. After the match, Napoli's striker Lorenzo Insigne was asked a question about Juventus' preparation of the game, which apparently they'd been treating as a Champions League final. He responded, "They're used to losing them." Zing. He didn't say the zing bit, I added the zing bit. Another team used to losing in cup matches at this point is Tottenham Hotspur. After going ahead in the FA Cup semi-final against Manchester United at Wembley, effectively their home ground, in a very similar manner to when the two sides played each other in the league earlier in the year, they let United back into the game and ended up losing 2-1. Not to let them off the hook for still having a shred of Spursiness left in their DNA though, the FA's official Twitter account risked incurring the ire of England's potential starting striker and World Cup captain Harry Kane by posting a video of Chris Smalling being asked the question, "Who's in your pocket, Chris?" above a looping video of Smalling just saying, "Harry Kane." They're far from a joke anymore, but let's hope Spurs haven't forgotten how to take one. Speaking of Man United though, their star striker Romelu Lukaku made a bid to become the sport's coolest player this week by signing with Jay-Z's Rock Nation sports agency, joining other sports stars like Kevin Durant of the Golden State Warriors and Ndamukong Suh of the Miami Dolphins. He's only the second soccer player to sign with them, but he's in good company as the other is Jerome Boateng of Bayern Munich. It's really cool to see soccer begin to permeate American culture, but I guess Jay-Z could just be trying to build a football player basketball team. One thing's for sure though, as Lukaku is still represented by mega agent Mino Raiola, and he's now going to be having his commercial opportunities handled by Rock Nation, he is going to be making a lot of moolah. Bayern Munich striker Robert Lewandowski is reportedly hoping to do something similar by making a move to Real Madrid this summer, but when the two clubs played each other in the Champions League semi-final earlier this week, he didn't give a great account of himself. Bayern were at home, but despite having more possession, an early lead and 17 shots, they still lost the game. It was their 6th loss to Real in a row, their worst run against any team. And what made matters worse was that Real's defence was pretty poor on the night. Lewandowski even had a couple of golden opportunities, one of which he pushed just wide, and the other a free header from a set piece that he put straight at Keylor Navas. Lewandowski once scored 4 goals against Madrid while he was still playing for Borussia Dortmund though, so maybe he can come up with similar heroics next week. And I'd like to finish on a segment I imagine will be recurring called What Record Did Lionel Messi Achieve This Week? Cue fun little Messi graphic. This week's record comes from the Copa del Rey final, where Barcelona demolished Sevilla 5-0. By bagging himself a goal in the game, Messi equalled a 68-year-old record by becoming only the 2nd player to score in 5 Copa del Rey finals. The other player, Athletic Bilbao's Telmo Zarra, is also part of the Spanish pantheon of insanely good strikers, and he scored in the 1942, 43, 44, 45 and 1950 finals. Messi's now scored in the 2009, 2012, 2015, 2017 and 2018 finals. I'm not really sure how this segment's going to end each week because there just aren't really words to describe Messi at this point. That's all we've got this week, but let us know in the comments below what your funniest football moments were of the week, and also let us know what other kind of videos you want to see. Give this one a like if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.